Yo guys, what's up? My name is Ben, owner of No Limit Cycling, and today we're going to be looking at the full MX range from the Santa Cruz lineup for 2023, which features the new 5010, Bronson and Nomad. Guys, before we move any further, if I could just ask you all to do me a huge favour, and that's hit that subscribe button. That would be muchly appreciated. I've been lucky enough to test all three of the bikes, and I can tell you now that they are all awesome and mega improvements from the previous models. We're going to be talking in detail in this video how they compare to one another, what's the main differences between the previous models and this year's models, and which bikes would be suited to you as that number one choice. So sizing, we get asked a lot here at No Limits about sizing and how they compare to other manufacturers and how they compare this year to the previous models and last year's models. So it's simple, if you ride a large, if you ride a medium, you will likely be the same size in 2023 on this year's range. I'm 5'11" and I ride a large across the board comfortably. So Santa Cruz have really mixed things up this year. They've got rid of all the 27.5 inch wheel size bikes and they are now an MX mixed wheel lineup. So let's talk about each bike individually, starting with the shortest of the range, which is the Santa Cruz 5010. 140 fork up front and 130 on the rear. Comparing the 5010 to last year's model, which was a full 27.5, this year's model is completely different. It pedals different, it rides different, it feels different. It's still got similar characteristics to the previous model, but in a better way, in a more trail orientated way. And after riding this year's bike, it really kind of turned my head a little bit. Last year, it was fantastic. It was that short travel, jibbers bike, really agile, really playful, but did reach a limitation quite quick on it. But on this year's model, it is a lot more grounded. It's an all-rounder. It's a trail bike that's absolutely dialed in now. And it is in competition with the rest of them now. I think if you are looking for that number one bike, the 5010 could possibly tick that box. It's got a lot more support. It's a lot plusher than the previous model. And I think you could get away with having that as a number one bike. It's fun, it's playful, you can still chuck it around, but with a new RockShox as well. The new RockShox suspension is absolutely dialed this year. It's really plush. Chuck that in with a VPP system and you've got a very grounded and supportive platform underneath you that gives you a lot of confidence. One thing that I took away was how balanced that bike was. In a straight line, if you're up to speed, it's really stable, it's really fast and planted. You feel the bike twitching around underneath you, but it just grips lovely underneath you, tracks the ground well, and it's also balanced. When you get it on the back wheel, it just hits a sweet spot and you could just kind of sail away on the back wheel, which is really, really nice. Another characteristic of the 5010 that I loved is how punchy and twitchy it is. As soon as you touch down on the cranks, power drive is imminent and it just pushes you forward, finds traction and pushes through the cranks, getting that power and maximum speed. On the previous model 5010, it was as soon as it got up to that maximum speed, especially heights of summer when the trails are rough, feel your feet vibrating on the pedals and then you'd just be getting through that suspension pretty quick. Whereas on this year's model, it's so supportive and grounded. The faster you get on the bike, the better the bike performs. So climbing on the 5010, fantastic. In and out of the saddle. When you put down the power, when you're sprinting up a hill, the power drive is imminent and you just get to that top of the hill as fast as you can, or as fast as you're capable of going. And then when you sat back in the seat angle, well, the seat angles across the range are getting steeper. And with a steeper seat angle, what that means is your power is in the middle of the bike, it's nice and neutral. So when you're pushing down, power drive is straight direct to the cranks, giving you a better power output. So to summarize on the 5010, it's mega playful, it's really, really agile, grounded bike, it's supported, it's confidence inspired, it ticks all the boxes, it climbs well, it jumps well, it descends well, it's good on steep, it is really, really grounded bike this year. So that's the 5010 ticked off. Now moving on to the Bronson. The Bronson is a 160 travel fork up front and then 150 on the rear. So a few similarities across all three bikes. They're all a mullet this year. They all have the new glove box compartment and they are all flipping awesome. So I remember when I first rode the Bronson, that was bike pack wheels, uplift day, the first time building the bike, bedding it in, and it was awesome. It was really good. I remember it jumped very, very well. That was at the first initial few runs, popping off stuff. Had a lively back end, it was really nice and playful. It was really balanced, it was really stable, and I just felt that I could throw it around, and it was just very, very confidence inspiring. The Bronson is that mid-travel bike, so it's got 150mm of travel on the rear, in with that VPP lit suspension linkage. So what that gives you is plenty of grip for one, a lot of confidence. The more travel you tend to have, the more confidence inspiring the bikes are. The Bronson, it's just that great all round. It's obviously mid-travel, ticks a lot of boxes. It's got great climbing position, so the seat angle's good. It's nice and comfortable on the descents as well. Head angle's not too steep, it's not too slack. It's just nice trail orientated bike, and it fits all the geos and ticks all the boxes on that level. One thing that you can do in the Bronson as well is run a coil shock, whereas the 5010 you can't run a coil shock, so you've got a lot more traction, a lot more grip on the Bronson platform than you would have on the 5010 when you put that coil shock in it. So the Bronson, perfect all-rounder. Number one bike, you can have that as your number one bike only and nothing else, and it will happily do miles on the road. So, you know, if you're linking up a Moors ride and you've got a bit of road riding to do, you can ride it on the road, get the miles in on the Moors, on the open wilderness. You can go to the desert on it and smash some miles in. Perfect all-rounder. So last but not least, the Santa Cruz Nomad. If you're a regular viewer to this channel, you will know how much I love that bike from the first ride review video that I did. If you haven't seen that already, head back into our channel and check that one out. I was honestly like a little kid at Christmas. It was so good. The minute I threw a leg over the bike, I just knew that it was comfortable, composed, confidence inspiring, and that was just, you know, throwing a leg over it, sat in the car park. It just felt such a supportive and grounded bike. Yeah, the climbing. I mean, I remember the first time I rode the Nomad, I went up the first climb, and it's not a steep climb, it's quite gradual and progressive, but I just remember sitting in this really comfortable position and just my legs weren't tired at all. It is harder to throw around, so it's a lot harder to get on the back wheel and maneuver around in comparison to the 5010 and the Bronson. They are more lightweight bikes and a lot easier to throw around. But if you're not too bothered about wrestling a bike and you want that full maximum travel and you're pushing your limits and want to tick all the boxes when it comes to the bike parks and you don't want to reach that limit, then the Nomad is well grounded. In an ideal world, 5010 Nomad all day long, it'd be awesome. You can have that short travel, playful bike that you can design around the smaller end of the scale, and then when you go to the big bike parks, you can have that Nomad. But for a lot of us, you want one bike that will do it all. The Bronson is in between of those bikes and does tick a lot of boxes. So it might not have the same playful feel that the 5010 has, and it might not have the same limit that the Nomad has, but for an all-round, especially in the UK when it's not crazy steep and the bike parks aren't as severe as they are overseas, or some of them should I say, then the Bronson will tick a lot of boxes and will be a better suited one for the UK market. So to conclude, that's all three bikes. That's the 5010, Bronson and Nomad. My advice to you, if you're in the market for a bike, look at your surrounding areas, work out where you ride the most and what you like doing the most, and then go from there. So there you have it guys, that is the all new MX range from the Santa Cruz family. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please do give it a thumbs up and give it a share with your mates. And if you could also please hit that subscribe button, that would be awesome. Any questions whatsoever, drop us a line in the comments, and any recommendations for future videos and content you want to see, drop us a line and let us know, and we will try our best to tick them boxes and make it happen. Thank you all for watching guys, and really appreciate the support. Take it easy, have a great weekend, and we will see you in the next one.